just tied the Tom Brady's.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Inc. For those of you watching at home, you just got to see a brand new intro. I did it myself. I have the technical skills of a brick, but I did it. And so hopefully it came through all right for you guys and everybody else. But
see on the recording, it was a little choppy on this end.
Was it? Shit.
Yeah.
Looked fine for me. But
need to get Steel Daughter involved.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. She's living it up in Nashville. You know, she's probably going to be a Titans fan before too long.
She really that impressionable?
No, she's not at all. She was texting me during the game the other night, and was freaking out as we continued to drive, and then of course interception, and she's like, I still want a Pickett jersey for Christmas. I'm like, okay, all right, that'll work. Okay, so Melvin's in, Joe is in, Big Ben's burner. Welcome aboard, and welcome to everybody else watching and stuff. And
Big Ben's tequila burner.
Yeah, man, he had some good tweets this week. I was laughing my ass off. I can't remember the specific one that caught me. But he had some good ones.
Really must have made a good impression on you then,
as he does every week. But
don't feel bad.
I can't remember. I see a million tweets a day.
Don't feel bad, Burner. He usually drinks before we record, so it's fine.
It's very true. I was actually catching a little bit of the original Friday the 13th before I came down here to the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, guys, you forget how god awful that was.
It was so campy and terrible. So was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I mean,
I saw that at a drive-in during the pandemic, because people wanted shit to do, right? So they had a drive-in movie open up here, a drive-in movie place open up here, and they showed that, and God, it was so awful and just like not plausible and just dumb. And I was like, why is this a horror classic? It's a piece of shit.
It's terrible. Yeah, no, it's I get it. I guess back in the 70s, 80s, that was considered fine film. Anyway, people aren't here to hear our movie critiques by any stretch, but they are here to see what we're drinking. I guarantee that. And Ian, what do you got going tonight?
I still have some Penn Oktoberfest because it is still October.
Good for you. We have a few days left there. I've got a little bit of redemption, and I also have a Yingling Light on standby here. Scarps, what do you got going?
Paint thinner.
Paint thinner. Sounds delish.
It's not smooth.
Is it moonshine, really?
No, it's vodka.
Burner's roaring with the Captain Morgan tonight. Very nice. Pray for me tomorrow.
I mixed some Captain Morgan with some apple cider earlier, and it was delicious.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
that actually sounds good. But it also sounds like you're praying for a hangover.
Well,
Ben, what are you?
That's why I'm drinking beer now.
I'm drinking Don Julio 70 and something by 10 Barrel. I don't know, some IPA. I can't remember what it was.
Very nice, very nice. The Steelers are 2-5, guys, and now they get to go to Philly, where we haven't won since I think Fred Flintstone roamed the earth. It's been ugly, and so now we're going to go in there and see what happens. I guess the only nice thing perhaps is last time the Eagles were 6-0, we beat them. It was in Heinz Field, but nevertheless, you do what you can. Impressions from last week, and I'm just going to start with questions for you guys. Ben, what was your overall, I guess, I don't want to say grade, that's not fair. What was your overall impression of Kenny Pickett last week?
I think that Pickett comes in and he competes hard. I don't know that he and the receivers are on the same page. And I think that Pickett makes as many mistakes as the receivers make in terms of reading routes and ball placement.
Mm-hmm.
He did not play well. I thought that was the worst action we've seen him in since the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Without question. I also think that he is playing for an offensive coordinator who's got his head up his ass. And I'm sorry. It's like you have more talent than this. You're not taking advantage of it. I'm not saying they're a good unit. What I'm saying is they're more talented than they are showing. And it's really, really frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
I did not and still do not think that Mike Tomlin will fire a coordinator in season, but fuck, he should. I mean, my God, that was awful. I just,
I'm with you. Ian, what are the offenses that are fireable in terms of Matt Canada? And don't give me 30 because I know there are, but give me a couple of the key ones because the reason I ask this is because I think a lot of fans, they immediately say something like, well, the plays are there, they're not executing things. Like
shut the fuck up.
Right. And believe me, there are a couple of moments where I saw some lack of execution, but that is few and far between. So, Ian, what are some of the things that you're seeing to say, it's got to happen?
Oh gosh, a few. I mean, I think first and foremost, it's that he's lost the trust of his players, right? That okay,
I'm
we gotta laugh about Melvin's comment
chiming
here.
in on
Yes, that first and foremost, I don't think his players trust him, and I think that goes back to early in the season when you saw wide receivers suggesting plays in the huddle, throwing their hands up at things, and guys just being generally pissed off. And it wasn't even this year, right? Last year, Ben's most successful drives were ones where he drew up plays in the huddle in the fourth quarter and basically stopped listening to Matt Canada. His shit doesn't work, right? It didn't work at LSU, and they fired him after 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. They realized he couldn't cut it in the SEC, so I don't know what made anyone think he could cut it in the NFL. The offensive line,
Nate Peterman.
Well. The offensive line has gotten better as the season has gone on, but at the same time, you have to actually use the running game sometimes to complement the passing game, right? Like you don't have a 15-year veteran quarterback who can go out there and read complicated defenses. Like he's running a high school offense basically, but he's also not doing anything to make it easier on Kenny Pickett. Like you look at teams that have been successful working in rookie quarterbacks, right? And I'll go back to the Jets and Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez was not a good quarterback, but he went to 2 AFC championship games.
Two straight
AFC championship games at the beginning of his career, which made everyone think he was good. Because, they had a good defense. They had a good running game. But also, offensively, they did a lot of things to make it easier on him, right? Like when he had to make a throw, they would call play action rollouts, or they would shorten the field. They would simplify the reads.
They would scheme receivers open. Imagine that shit.
Yeah. I mean, basically in the NFL, to have success, you have to do one of two things. Mm-hmm. You have to either have a scheme and then draft or sign players that fit that scheme so you can run that scheme, or you have to adapt your scheme to fit the talent that you have. We are doing neither of those right now, right? We are drafting players that we think are good football players, but we don't have a scheme that fits their talents. Right? So, it's mind-boggling. You watch other teams, right? Like what makes the 49ers offense so good? It's that they have a scheme and they run that scheme and they find players that fit that scheme. Christian McCaffrey aside, how many years did the 49ers go out and just find running backs off the street that could basically run in their scheme because they knew the athletic traits that they wanted, they knew what they needed, and They went out and found those guys, right? Eli Mitchell in the 6th round, Jeff Wilson Jr., all these other guys that just seemingly, Raheem Mostert, seemingly out of nowhere. I'll take Baltimore, who's on right now, right? They completely reinvented their offense to fit Lamar Jackson's skill sets. It's not the most complicated offense in the world. The passing game is relatively pedestrian. A lot of it relies on Jackson scrambling around and defenders sucking up to stop the run and him finding an open guy. But nevertheless, they adapted their offense to fit his skill set. Right now, we're running an offense that doesn't mesh with the players we have. Right? We have basically no yards after the catch. Everything is to the sideline. Everything in the passing game is outside the numbers or short. Some of that is Tomlin continually preaching limiting mistakes and limiting turnovers and all that stuff. You even heard it after the game and in his press conference this week that, Tomlin talking about ball security and things like that. And when you have a rookie quarterback, he's going to make mistakes. And I'll say this.
Yeah,
I'll say this. Pickett's interceptions were him trying to make plays with the ball down the field. And I'm more willing to accept him making mistakes, trying to be aggressive rather than trying to be conservative. So, I mean, that's just me, but I would rather him go out and be aggressive and try and make plays and try and actually win games rather than just basically do what Mason Rudolph did of going through the motions, or what Mitch Trubisky was doing of kind of going through the motions of playing an NFL game, but not really playing a game and, not really trying to win, basically just playing not to lose.
What I love this week are the people that are coming out of the woodwork that want Mason to come back and start. It's like they weren't watching the previous 4 years, and they're like, Mason can throw 60-yard dimes. Really?
Well, speaking of the Mason Rudolph fan club, Scarps,
when have I said this?
It's all love, brother. It's all love.
I don't think you ever said that, Scarps. Somebody else did.
I'm just messing with
on Twitter, and I said he was a fucking idiot. And I don't think he took it very well.
Well, Scarps, in all fairness, I think when we do our chats all the time and stuff, you have as much doubt about Kenny Pickett as anybody in terms of us. Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that Ryan lives in Pittsburgh, and that if you see him at Giant Eagle, he doesn't like Kenny Pickett.
That's right.
I don't dislike Kenny Pickett.
Okay. Now, my question for you is, based on what you've seen of Kenny through 3 games, whatever it is, would you continue to roll with him, or do you think that this team still has a chance to compete and give me Trubisky or Rudolph, veterans, might keep us in the game? Where are you at?
I mean, he gives them the best chance to compete as well, right? I mean, and also, but the toothpaste is out of the tube. I've said that many times on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like once you put him in, unless he's hurt, you can't not play. And listen, they know what Mason is, and they know what Mitch is. You got to see if this guy has enough for the future,
right?
And Ian, I do agree. I'd rather see him play to win than play to not lose. That first interception, first interception looked like it was the feet got tagged. Could have been a penalty, whatever. I'm fine with it.
Claypool fell down. It was.
I'm fine with the. Yeah,
I couldn't tell if Claypool tripped over his own feet or if he tripped over the DB's feet. It was really hard to tell what happened there. So I was okay with the no call.
I was too.
I'm Claypool
last year fell down after he caught the ball. This year he just fell down before.
and this year the only guy who's getting any yak is Claypool, which I do not understand at all.
Yeah. Well,
and he is. He's the only guy who's getting any yak.
You're right.
He's out there busting his ass. And honestly, of the receivers on the field, and I never thought I would say this, Claypool is the guy who is being hurt most by this scheme. This scheme is hurting him more than any receiver on the field right now.
So then the second interception by Pickett, this is at the ACC, man. That Holland read that all the way. And you know what? Yeah. And you know what too? I don't know why you're running like a curl route in that, but that's Matt Canada, the element of it. But then the final pick, a curl
route with no deep post behind it.
It was just like like Holland's just like, are you really going to throw this ball because it's mine? Like, but even in that, it's like at the very end, yeah, he could have scrambled, he could have went out of bounds, and there was still plenty of time on the clock, and that's that's whatever. But he tried to force it, and I think
Absolutely.
that he's trying to force things to make plays. And I think he's doing a little too much, but I feel that he thinks he has to do too much because he's not put in a position to succeed. And that goes back to Canada. And I'm not making excuses for Pickett. I'm also not building the statue. I simply don't know what he is. I think he's a hell of a competitor. I think you'll have to take him off the field in a body bag, but I just don't know if he's that type of player that can elevate his team. Like, we know he's not going to be a Mahomes. We know he's not going to be a Josh Allen, but you hear comparisons, Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr. To me, he needs to work on a lot to even get to that level.
I'd be okay if he got to the Derek Carr level. I don't think his arm is as strong as Derek Carr's. I'd be okay if he got there. And Derek Carr is not a great quarterback. He's a legitimate NFL starter, though.
Yeah,
and Kenny ain't there yet. The problem is, one, I'm speaking to judging Kenny's overall performance at this point. It's a really small sample size, really, really, really small sample size.
Yes,
and he's playing in a terrible fucking offense where literally nothing is working in his favor. They don't have a run game. The offensive line is, getting better, except for the left tackle, who's the most important position on the field, and he is struggling mightily. And the fucking Ratbirds just scored again. Matt Canada is just, as Ian laid out before, he's not doing Pickett any favors. So the data is flawed, and on top of that, we have a really small sample size. So it's hard to say Pickett is going to be the guy for the future, or he's not going to be the guy for the future. And, I'm not one, you guys know I'm impatient. I'm not one to, give players a bunch of time and a long leash or advocate for that. But, in this particular instance, I don't see enough there to be able to judge what he's going to be yet.
Right.
And you're not going to find out if Kenny Pickett is the guy or if he isn't the guy if he's sitting on the bench. You have to put him in the game and let him play to find that out.
Yeah, him getting the experience is valuable, and it's going to hurt this year. The Steelers are going to lose a bunch of fucking games, and, they've won a couple of games this year they shouldn't have won, and, I'm watching this Buccaneers defense right now, and their run fits are terrible, and they're allowing screens to go for a lot of yards after the catch. And I really thought that the Steelers offense was maybe a little better than it actually was after, I don't know.
Well,
Ravens have pretty good skill players.
Yeah.
I digress.
Let's not forget, though,
games that they should not have won, and they've lost a couple of games that they should have won.
Yep.
Which is the most Steeler thing ever.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's hard to say where they're going to finish, but it ain't a pretty season.
And let's not forget one other thing I wanted to bring up too. We talked a lot in the off season about how last year we won 9 games and Ben Roethlisberger had fourth quarter comebacks in 8 of them. That
7
or 7.
It was 7.
Might have been 7. Okay.
6 game-winning drives, 7 comebacks.
7 comebacks.
Yeah. Okay. One way or the other. You know what I mean, right? That we came from behind a lot in the fourth quarter. And, some quarterbacks have that clutch gene. Some don't. Some develop it over time. Actually, shout out to Scott Casimir on Twitter, posted this week about like the percentages of how many times quarterbacks actually succeed on game-winning drives. And the best ones are like still below 50%. I think Ben, who is third all time in game-winning drives, was at like 45% of his game-winning drives he converted into actual victories. So it's not an easy thing, which is why, you always see those regression to the mean stats, right? That in 1-score games last year, we were really friggin' good in 1-score games. And there was some regression to the mean due to happen just because we didn't have Roethlisberger and didn't have that guy who knew what he was doing in the fourth quarter. But some of it is too, and back to my whole tirade on Canada, that, 2 weeks in a row now, basically we've come out and done jack shit in the third quarter and into the fourth quarter. That like you kind of have to do something in the second half against Cleveland too. We didn't do anything in the second half. Like you have to come out and like what you do in the first half is good.
Adjust. You got to
adjust.
That's
and
what I want
to. The other team is going to make halftime adjustments, and you have to react to them. You can't just keep going 3 and out and just be like, "Oh yeah, sometime our quarterback will lead us down the field and we'll score a touchdown." And
they are so desperate to get to third and manageable. It is just awful.
I would agree, Ryan.
It's just like, how could we get 2 yards on first down and second down so we could have 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 5? And
then maybe they should actually like run the ball in the third quarter.
They
don't take any chances. They don't get aggressive on second and short.
I agree.
They don't do shit.
You know what? Okay. You know what the other thing is? Sorry, you just Mark set me off with this whole thing. Send hate mail to Steel Dad.
Just keep stacking it up, baby.
The other thing they do. In the past with Roethlisberger, when they got to the 40-yard line, you could almost guarantee they were taking a shot downfield for the end zone to try and get a 35 or 40-yard touchdown. Now we get to the 40-yard line, which is basically the fringe of Boswell's field goal range, and we call the dumbest fucking plays ever. That's like, let's try a double reverse trick play, and then.
Then we lose 6 yards and we're out of field goal range.
Right. Or we get to the 30-yard line. We're like, Boz can make it from here. We'll just do dumb shit. Like, who cares about scoring a touchdown? We're in field goal range now. Like, that pisses me the hell off.
Can we talk about the fact?
One quick thing for Big Ben's burner. Peyton Manning won 3 games his rookie season. And he said it helped him. He said it helped him immensely. So I'm not going to worry about the gauntlet of games hurting Kenny Pickett's confidence. I'm just not
yet.
If it does,
Peyton Manning and Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett is not as physically talented as Peyton Manning and never is going to be. However, he's a smart player.
Cerebral.
He's a smart player, and if a bunch of hard games hurts his confidence, he shouldn't be in the fucking NFL anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Listen, Peyton Manning is the smartest player to ever play in the NFL purely because he opened 30 pizza stores in Denver right before Colorado legalized weed, okay?
That's one smart guy.
I mean, that is a pretty valid point.
Can we talk about the fact that Matt Canada created 2 plays for Zach Gentry last week? And I'm still not sure why.
Because Zach's a nice guy.
Zach's a terrific young man. He's turned himself into a wonderful number 2 tight end. But Jesus,
seriously, I'm not kidding. The guy has a career in media ahead of him. He does.
Oh, he's great. I just don't I don't get it.
He's never going to be a starter in the NFL. But
No, but you've got all this talent, all this speed, everything else. You know what? Let's create this sneaky play for Zach Gentry. I'm going to catch him off guard. We're going to pick up a first down.
That's a play that's not unique. It's not new.
No.
The Chiefs run it, and I swear to God, I swear, like Matt Canada's watching, and he's like, "Oh, little screen to Kelsey. Okay, let's try that with Zach Gentry."
Right. Little different.
And it's like just like the jet sweep. Oh my God! If I have to see another one of these jet sweeps, like what are we doing? Like they don't.
Hi, Johnny.
Hello, Johnny. They don't like they don't. Oh my God! They don't fool anybody. They don't fool anyone.
No, and I think part of it too. And again, I am not excusing Canada at all because I'm with Ben. I'm tired of him. I if ever the time was to fire a coordinator in season, it's now. But there is a lack of execution at times, and there's a lot of real shitty blocking that goes on the edges too. Freiermuth, man, I'm telling you, I love the kid, but he gets beat one-on-one way too often.
Claypool can't block either.
No.
When they bring Claypool in and tuck him in behind a tight end to try and block an edge rusher, I'm like, oh fuck, they're screwed here. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Joe's right about that. So does Central Valley for that point. Big game this week between those two. Nevertheless, I'll stop talking about high school football.
So we gotta drink every time there's a jet sweep. Is that the new game, Johnny?
I guess so.
We'd all be plowed by the end of the first quarter.
I will say Najee Harris ran the hardest I've seen him run all year in Miami. I'll give
ran
Najee
the
some credit.
best I've seen him run all year, and it's like he's healthy. He's starting to feel
much
himself
more
again.
athletic.
Yeah.
Well, you took the plate out of his shoe.
Yeah.
And they were making a little room for him. He played better.
I have a question regarding not just Najee, but the running back position in general. Everybody talks about, Najee hasn't had a 100-yard game in forever. In a 17-game season, especially now, does it matter if a running back is getting to 100 anymore? I mean, is it okay to get to like 85? I mean, because if you do 85, you're still going to get over 1,000 yards.
I think it's all about how many yards you average per carry.
I agree 100%.
I mean, it's not so much about how often they feed you the ball. If you're getting 4.5 yards a click, you're effective. If you're getting 3.7 yards per click, like Najee is right now, you're not.
Yeah, I was told yards per carry is an overrated stat.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
sorry. I'll give you an example. Last week, Gus Edwards for the Ravens comes back. He hasn't played in however long.
Yep.
He had 16 rushes, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Take away the 2 touchdowns. If you give me 16 for 66, I'm fine with that. Yeah. That's like 4.1 a pop.
Right.
You know?
Right.
The touchdowns are added bonuses, obviously. But, I agree. Like, I don't necessarily need to see triple-digit rushing yards. I don't. But I just want to see successful runs, and situational runs. Situational run sounds like a bad poop that you have routinely. But
the Steelers have been terrible at situational football for 30 years.
Oh man, I had Mexican last night. Now I've got the situational runs.
That'd be a great band name. They'd be really shitty though. Situational runs.
Oh shit!
But
terrific.
But I hate to say it, but Najee did look better than he has, but again, man, Jaylen Warren just looks so much more comfortable out there, and
Jaylen Warren fucked up a couple of times where he stopped.
I did. Yeah, I agree.
And I was like, "What the hell was that?" You got to hit the hole, man. You can't stand there for a second guess it.
Yeah.
No, you can't. And that's not his style anyway. And they had him in there on that 3rd and short, and he just went cannonball mode and went boom and got the first down.
Which is what he should be doing.
Absolutely.
He's a one cut and run guy.
Yep. And if he's watching Najee and thinking he's going to emulate that, he's going down the wrong path for sure.
One other thing I'll say to Mark's question though, that yes, Najee hasn't had a 100-yard game this year, but his highest number of carries in a game so far is 18. Last year he had 300-yard games, and in those games he had 23, 26, and 28 carries. So some of it's just a factor of we knew when we drafted him that he didn't have the breakaway speed for the long runs, right? He's a grinder. He's a guy who can get you 5, 6, 7 yards in theory when he's healthy and good.
Mm-hmm.
But if he gets you 5 yards a pop consistently all the damn time, then that's pretty darn good and that's acceptable. But it's that.
Again, I'd accept 4.5. I'd be totally fine with that.
Yeah,
right. But what I'm saying is some of it for him, because he's not going to have those 30, 40, 50-yard runs in his game, that he's going to need to get to over the 100 yards. He needs the volume of carries to get there, because he just doesn't have the big play in him.
Yeah, it's troubling. I agree, Ian.
It's not troubling necessarily. Right. It's you have to keep feeding him the rock. You can't call one running play in the entire 3rd quarter of a game, and then that was 2 weeks ago. But still,
the point.
You know what I'm saying? The point remains, and that's another way to help your rookie quarterback, right? Is to run the ball a little bit and not make your rookie quarterback do everything.
What What happened to George Pickens in the second half? I mean, it's not like Xavier Howard was on him every time. I didn't think he was.
They're idiots. They forgot he existed.
Why?
Yeah, I agree with Ian. There were.
It seems odd.
There were points where you could see him breaking open, but he didn't get the ball. They forgot that he was there. What it seemed like, and they didn't throw the ball often enough. It was like, you're in this game still. You have a chance. Yeah. Throw the fucking ball, and we're running it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing. The run, pass, punt doesn't work either.
No.
So
no.
That's
whatever.
And
third and 6.
I sit here thinking about this, and so I'm going to verbalize it. I think back to 1998 when Cowher had Ray Sherman as the offensive coordinator, and it got so frustrating that Cowher finally took the play calling away from Sherman. He didn't want to fire him because he was like, probably thinking, I don't know how to coordinate an offense. I'm not doing this. Took away the play calling from him, and things got worse. They did not get better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I fucking hate Matt Canada. I can't stand his offense. The idea of watching that for 10 more weeks. Oh my God.
Well, but what would you do though? Let's say that things go real shitty on Sunday. We score 7, 8, 9, 10 points again, and Tomlin says, "Okay, that's it, Canada. You're out." Well, what do we do?
Hire an 11-year-old that plays Madden all day.
You grab either Mike Sullivan or the tight ends coach James. What's his name?
Alfredo Roberts.
Alfredo Roberts. You have one of those guys coordinate the offense, and
I have faith in none of them.
I have faith in none of them either. But at least Sullivan's been an offensive coordinator.
Call up Sully from the Pens to see if he could coordinate the offense.
But I think
right.
But at the absolute worst, though, you still run the Canada offense, but you can change up the play calling.
You can also tweak the Canada offense using the same concepts and change the play calling. But I mean, honestly, watching that game, do they run more than 8 or 10 plays?
No,
they don't. Hey, actually, speaking of that, Mark Caboli tweeted this week that in the offseason, the Steelers could have had Luke Getsy if they wanted him.
Oh, yeah.
Who? All right. So Luke Getsy, I think he's with the Packers now. He was with the Cardinals before that as an assistant coach. Local kid from Steel Valley High School. His brother Lance Getsy is the head coach of Franklin Regional High School.
He's gonna give us the history now.
Who
Whippeal Blitz.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Joe and I have developed a very good Twitter relationship here, talking about Whippeal stuff. So I gotta give my Whippeal shout outs to Joe.
Good deal.
But no, Luke Getsy actually was a really good high school college player. And has done pretty well in his coaching career. So, and since the Rooneys love hiring guys from Pittsburgh, you got to have that one requisite Pittsburgher on your staff.
Right.
Does anybody, just wanted to throw that out there for the conversation.
Yeah,
they could have had him, apparently, according to Cabali.
I don't really know what could have had him meant. I mean, did they not make a phone call? Did they actually talk to him? I don't know what that meant, but I agree they could have, because anything's got to be better than this nonsense that we're seeing. Real quick, let me remind everybody that we're part of the Pigskin Podcast Network, and that means we are tied in with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TPPN to get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Just place a $5 bet on any football game only. The DraftKings Sportsbook using code TPPN. Defense.
Sorry, one final thought there, because I looked it up. Luke Getsy was the quarterbacks coach in Green Bay in 2019. Last 2 years was quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator in Green Bay. And then
took over for Hackett when Hackett left.
And is now this year Chicago's offensive coordinator. So I think Caboli was saying, like, look, this guy was on the market as being a potential for an offensive coordinator position. Took the one in Chicago, but like he's from here, so the Steelers probably could have had him if
things are going swimmingly well in Chicago. So I can see where
they looked a lot better against the Pats than we did.
I was going to say they have come around to it, but yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But at any rate, whatever.
Let me
Matt Canada sucks. Moving
on. Before I get into we should patent that. Copyright.
Trademark.
Let me ask a off-topic question here for a minute. If you could pick one player that has had a kind of sneaky good season for the Steelers, Scarps, I'll start with you. Who would you pick? A guy that's played well. I'm not saying he's going to go to the Pro Bowl or be an All-Pro. I'm just saying he's had a good year. Who would you say that is?
Probably Terrell Edmonds.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with Mason. Sorry.
Mason Cole? Mason Rudolph Cole.
Nobody holds a clipboard.
Yeah, I'd go I think Terrell Edmonds. I think he's playing very, very well.
Yeah,
he is.
I've said this on this show many times. If the Steelers drafted him in the third round or maybe even second, I don't think fans would have been as harsh on him as they have. But he's a guy I think that they should re-sign next year.
I agree.
I'm glad that it didn't. I'm glad that it didn't work out in free agency for him, because that definitely helped the Steelers.
Because he came in cheap. What 2.537 or something?
He makes less than Marcus
consistent, reliable.
Not less, not much, but yeah,
right.
He's just solid. He's solid.
Yeah. Ian, who would you pick as your guy that's having a nice year?
I mean, Minka's the obvious answer. That
no, sneaky good.
Oh, sneaky good.
Under the radar.
Under the radar. I mean, I don't know if honestly, I don't think anyone on the offense is Pro Bowl worthy this year.
No.
Under the radar, sneaky good. Oh gosh,
just somebody that doesn't even have to be a Pro Bowl player. Just somebody that's busting ass, doing a nice job.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Miles Jack has been really good, but we expected a lot out of Miles Jack. Sure. And actually, I think Miles Jack has helped Devin Bush a little bit. Devin Bush has played probably the best he's played since his knee injury the last couple of weeks, which is still, I wouldn't say he's not what you would expect a top 10 draft pick to be, but he's playing better. But that's still not necessarily.
But he's playing respectable football.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's making plays.
Yes.
Sometimes plays we really fucking need, like the 2-point conversion that he defended. That was huge.
Yeah.
Ben, do you have somebody that's playing well?
I expected Mason Cole to be absolutely fucking horrible, and he's actually been pretty respectable. So that would be one guy. But I'm actually going to go with Larry Ogunjobi, who I think honestly is playing the best football of his career right now, and he's playing it in Pittsburgh. So the guy may not even play this week. He hasn't practiced the last 2 days. His knee is hurt. But he's playing well, and that was a great signing and cheap. Signing.
No, they got a great deal after his deal with Chicago fell through.
I agree with Scarps though. The guy that people need to stop giving shit to is Terrell Edmonds.
Yeah,
because he is turning into a guy that you can get 10 years of service from. And that's what you want with your first round picks. They're not all going to be stars. They're not all going to be stars, but they should be legitimate NFL starters for 10 years.
Yeah.
And if you get that out of them, that's a pretty good pick, especially where did they pick him?
28th, I think.
28th it was.
Yeah. That's late. That's a late one. I mean, if you don't get a starter there, you don't. Getting a TJ Watt, getting a Hall of Fame type talent at 30, man, that's the exception. That is not the rule. That never fucking happens. And the Dallas Cowboys who picked Taco
Charlton, baby.
Right. The pick immediately before TJ went, they're kicking themselves.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Big time.
Yeah. Let me flip the coin here. Scarps, a guy that has not had such a great year this year. Who would you say that is?
Mason.
The hell kind of gum are you chewing, by the way?
Peppermint, spearmint, something like that.
Peppermint, spearmint.
Does it make the vodka taste better?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Oh, sorry for dramatic effect. Fuck. I'm gonna say it.
Go ahead.
I'm saying this because I'm saying it. Cam Hayward.
Okay.
And I know it's because listen, TJ out definitely helps, but I'm just gonna say this about Cam. How many times over the past year or so has he, sounded super petty when he'll tweet, that's disrespectful because his name isn't in a top, defensive lineman category, or when he unsolicitedly says, I'm just as good as Aaron Donald. Nobody even asked you that question. Like he's putting himself out there, and listen, I think he's putting himself out there more for Walter Payton Man of the Year, and I think he deserves that award, but also too maybe later in life in television. But I'm just gonna say this: when you start throwing those things out there, and he has done nothing since TJ Watt has been out. So yeah, I expected him to step it up a little bit, and he hasn't.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. I agree. I think part of it is clearly the loss.
And I love
TJ.
Cam. Cam's a great dude. Loved working with him. I think that he is a great football player. I think he's an all-time Steeler. But how we talked about with Ben, Father Time catches up to you.
Yeah, it does.
Cam's on the other side of 30 now, man. Like you don't get younger. Especially on the D-line.
Ben, anybody for you that is not performing up to their expectations, capabilities?
I think that Akela Witherspoon has taken a step back.
He's hurt, yeah.
And it's hurting the defense a bit. He's far better in bump and in man than he is in zone, and he's being asked to play zone.
Yeah.
And so part of that goes to coaching. So I'm going to give him a little slack. It's like you should coach players toward their strengths, not you shouldn't make them fucking adapt to shit that you want done. But the guy that I'm super disappointed in is Dan Moore.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go.
Dan Moore, I thought getting his ass kicked all of last year and then working on his craft for an entire offseason and getting stronger and getting faster, getting more flexible would really help him, and that he would become a respectable left tackle. I didn't think that he was going to be great, but respectable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been awful. He's been downright awful in some games. And it's just like, dude, really? I mean, you are the weak link. You are the guy.
Yeah.
It ain't good.
I think, and looking ahead to Sunday, this is a game where I think they get eaten alive. The Eagles are so good, so solid. They rotate.
And they just traded for Robert Quinn.
They rotate.
They rotate and older, but he could still play.
Yeah, they rotate and they rush 4 and they still get pressure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. It's going to be really tough. It is.
Yeah. Ian, who's your guy in that category?
All right. My guy is Deontay Johnson. Because
that's a good one, actually. That's a good one. That trumps mine.
I honestly, I was going to go with Dan Moore until you talked about it. I was like, shit, I got to find somebody else. But I tweeted this earlier in the week that, I know Deontay is making like $17 million a year, but right now the Steelers quarterbacks have a passer rating of 39.2 when they are targeting him. If you spike the ball every play, it's a 39.6. So literally right now, throwing to Deontay is worse than spiking it every play. And Deontay's 39.2 passer rating when targeted is the lowest passer rating of any wide receiver in the league with at least 25 targets. The next closest is Darryl Mooney at 50.2. And on top of all of that, Deontay has the fourth most targets of any receiver in the league at 67. So he is their most inefficient receiver, and they're forcing the ball to him.
Yeah.
And he's got like no yards after the catch this year. He's not doing anything with the ball in his hands. And he's had a number of balls hit him in the hands, and some of them popped up for interception. Some of them he just dropped. But yeah, so, and, if he was still on his rookie deal, whatever, maybe I'd be a little more lenient, but he's the fourth highest paid player on the team this year. Fourth highest paid player on the team.
I knew what you meant.
I've been drinking. I can't talk.
He got paid.
Yes,
okay,
he got paid.
He got paid. Yeah. If you want to get paid like a star, you got to shine.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to make those catches. You got to make tough catches.
And I said that on the show multiple times. I didn't want to pay him because I wanted to see how he did without Ben, because him and Ben were always on the same page last year. Always. That I go back to that play in Baltimore when they needed a first down, and he ran a route that faked the dude out of his boots because he knew, like him and like whether it was a hand check or a hand signal or whatever, him and Ben were on the same page.
That was that 4th and 6 play, right?
Yeah. And now, I mean, he's made some nice catches this year. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't. Oh, only Claypool has a touchdown as a receiver. Ed Pickett's now. Yeah. Ed Pickett's now. But when you're the number one and you got a fourth highest paid player on a team, you got to step it up.
It's what I was talking about earlier. Pickett and Pickens and the other, DJ, fucking Claypool, they're not on the same page, man. They're not on the same page, and they need to be. And yeah, part of that's on Pickett. Part of that is like that touchdown that he threw at the fucking goal line last week. That was 100% on Pickett. That was 100% because DJ made the right read.
You mean the interception?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pickens threw the ball right to where the DB had leverage. Right to him.
Yeah.
I fucking stupid.
Right. I mean, to me, that was beyond forcing it. That was just a poor throw.
That was some rookie ass dumb shit. Yeah. I don't know a better way to describe it.
No,
and I'm sorry,
he wanted that so bad. And
absolutely,
I get it.
You have to put up with that crap when you have a rookie quarterback. Yeah. I understand that too, but goddamn, it's frustrating.
Yeah, very much so. Let me talk a little defense. You guys mentioned Devin Bush. He's on pace for over 100 tackles. He's playing better. He's not playing 10th overall pick better, but he's playing definitely above where he was. We looked. I thought we were going to give up 50 for a little while there on Sunday night. And
the Ravens just got flagged for DPI, and the look on John Harbaugh's face was priceless. It was awesome. I wish you guys could see this with me.
See you, Joe. Good night.
Good night, Joe. Thanks for dropping by. John Harbaugh. Any Harbaugh face that looks like crap, I'm all for it.
It's awesome.
But what? Did Terrell Austin do a good job of adjusting, or was it more a matter of the Dolphins didn't do a good job of continuing to exploit the defense?
I'd say a little of both. I think some of it was the Dolphins had some scripted plays coming into the game that they knew would work against what they saw on film from our defense. I think we did make some adjustments that worked. But really, once they got out of their scripted plays, they didn't do a whole lot. Tua made some bad throws, especially in the second half. We got no pressure. Tua missed
some
him.
reads.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
They left a lot of yards out on the field that they could have had easily, where Waddle fucking destroyed James Pierre and didn't even get a look.
Yeah.
Because Tyreek Hill was on the field.
You're right.
Yeah.
shit like that. I was just like, wow, we are so lucky right now. This is amazing.
Yeah. What, Ryan?
Yeah, and I'm going to say this. I thought the Steelers were fortunate that it wasn't 21-0 right away, but they did.
No doubt.
They played well situationally. I thought they made good adjustments. But I'm just gonna say this, and I don't give a shit what the Twitter people when they get up on their soapbox and say, I don't care how many interceptions the defense drops. This one's on the offense. I'm sorry, when you drop 4 interceptions, you're bound to lose.
Okay, yes, but timeout for one quick second. If you go into a visiting stadium and you only give up 16 points, you give your team a damn good chance to win that game. And the offense did not rise to the occasion at all.
I'm not even disagreeing.
There's some shared blame there. It's Kenny Pickett.
That's how I would put it.
And the receivers not being on the same page. It's Matt Canada sucking. It's Matt Canada sucking. I should say that twice. There's some shared blame to go around, but the offense, in my opinion, carries more of the burden. Yeah, the D could have won the game. The D could have won the game by themselves. They could have. And they didn't get it done. But they did enough to give their team a damn good chance to win. And the offense didn't come through, man. They just
no. And we know they had opportunities.
Yeah.
And I you go back to that quarterback sneak. I like the design of the play, to be honest with you. They had Boykin in motion there to kind of dive into the pile and give Pickett a little push if he needed it. And they got him for illegal procedure. The line was moving at the same time, and then Pickett scrambles. Would have been 4th and 1, but Dan Moore gets hit for the holding call. Now it's 3rd and 16, and then the pick. And that's what happens. You beat yourself, you put yourself in tough positions, and you turn the ball over. And then, of course, you had the opportunity down at the end, which was just a horrible throw, as we know. I just trying to think here. What do you do this week against the Eagles? Because now you're dealing with Jalen Hurts, who's playing very well. They've got some really good skill people.
It's a very similar offense to the one that the Ravens run.
It is.
And that the Steelers defense, under a different coordinator, has had a good amount of success defending. So you do what we've done versus the Ravens previously.
Yeah.
And you don't pressure the quarterback as much. You want to get interior pressure, but you want to contain him. You want to keep him in the pocket and try and make him throw from the pocket. And you play zone behind it, which everyone hates, tackle the catch.
Oh, I know.
But that's why the fact that the Dolphins weren't scoring that many points, that's why Austin didn't get away from that. That's why he left it in place the entire damn game. And it was frustrating because it was just like he was throwing the ball at will, but they weren't scoring points. They were just racking up a lot of yards.
Yeah.
And Tua missed a couple of
oh my God, he missed
easy touchdown throws that he could have made because he was trying to force the ball into Hill, but
of course.
Yeah. And then Hill gave up on a couple of routes, like he slowed down, or I don't understand what the hell he was doing. I was like, are you not sure the ball's coming to you?
Speaking of him, Trey Norwood made a couple of real nice tackles. Now
Trey Norwood had a nice game.
Yeah, he missed one, but the cavalry came and helped on a 3rd down play to force a punt. But he did. He played a very nice game. I think his role is one that has developed into, hey, if I don't have to be the guy, then I can be a really nice player. As long as Minka's still on the field, Edmonds, if he can just go play, I think he's good. But if he has to replace one of those two guys, then I have some concerns right now. But
I'd agree with that. I mean, he's a versatile piece that you can use in the slot. You can use. He's better in coverage than Arthur Millette is in the slot. You can use him as a deep safety. But he's not an overly physical guy.
Yeah.
And he's not good in run defense. You kind of have to pick and choose your spots with him. but he can be a nice little chess piece you can use in certain situations in your defense. And for being a late 6th or 7th round pick, yeah, I mean that was a nice find.
That was a great pick, and I think he's a decent free safety.
Yeah,
he's a guy who can start a few games for you. He's not a guy you want back there all the time.
Nope.
He operates best as kind of a sixth man, in basketball terms.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
A guy who comes in and makes some plays for you situationally, and then goes back and then comes back in and then goes, back and forth.
Honestly, I'd call him like a 7th or an 8th man. Like that guy. he's almost like the energy guy off the bench that you bring in to like get a couple big defensive plays in a game. He plays like 4 or 5 minutes in a game, but like, he helps get your team through like that lull right after, that lull you get in the middle of the first half of a game. But yeah, I get what you're going with for
situational runs. So yeah,
basketball. You got your situational.
One of these days I'm going to hear about a band called Situational Runs.
One thing
we used to have a band here, and I'm just going to say this real quick because you guys keep talking about band names. We used to have a band in Portland called Camaro Hair. Which was the greatest band name I've ever heard in my entire life.
Camaro Hair.
So I went and saw them just because the name was so great, and they weren't.
Am I to assume it's in reference to the T-tops, and so you get the hair crazy because the wind's blowing?
Yeah, I think it was just more about, like big Camaro hair from the 90s.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
I need to get more beer so those watching online can go on an adventure with me.
Oh, terrific. We're going through the Ian house here to get more beer out of his.
What would be really cool right now would be if Ian's wife got up and yelled at him. I think that would be fantastic.
That would be outstanding. Yeah. Or if the kids just all piled on top.
That would be awesome. That would be even better, actually.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy hitting the tap.
I like how he's
got the family pictures right over top of the
kegerator. I got right here the family pictures.
I did want to make sure that Casey Kasem was in the house tonight.
Has Casey written something out?
Is Casey in the house tonight? Casey is in the house tonight, so you're going to get another Casey Kasem.
Long distance dedication.
I like it. We're doing the long distance dedication before predictions. This is great. Here we go.
That's fine. Is Casey ready?
Well, I guess.
Gotta get the gum out of your mouth first, or what?
No, I'm a professional. Let's just do it.
I'm sure Casey chewed tobacco while he was doing it. So.
American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week of October 27, 1978. Ryan from Pittsburgh writes, Dear Casey, I was finishing up the final touches on the design for the Kenny Pickett statue on Sunday night, not once, but twice. And when he had the chance to lead the team to victory, not once, but twice, he threw an interception, not once, but twice. Casey, at this rate, Pickett will have 25 interceptions by season's end, and he'll set the NFL record, but not for most interceptions, but for the most interceptions in a season that weren't his fault. But I digress. I don't need Kenny Pickett fans to give me grief because I criticized their hometown hero. Oh, that's right, Casey. He's not even from Pittsburgh. He's from New Jersey. Perhaps we should call him Dr. Oz. I was very proud of
politics there. Okay.
Yes.
That's good. That's good, Mr. Kasem. That's good.
In all seriousness, Pickett will be fine. It's just growing pains. It's not like he's a rookie that's only a year younger than Lamar Jackson. Okay, that was my last joke. All right. If there's one thing I've done this season, it's reminisce about past Steelers teams. You know, ones that could run the ball and stop the run. Ones that could get pressure on the quarterback. Ones that could compete a pass 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Those were the days. Well, Ryan, it's good to reminisce, and you're in for a treat. Moving up one spot this week to number 3 is a Little River Band off their album Sleeper Catcher. Here's Reminiscing. Kenny, if you're watching, I know you're
Little River
Dr. Oz.
Oh,
holy shit! God. That was awesome.
The injection of the political stuff was fantastic.
I don't know. It just came to me.
Oh, that's great.
Pickett will be Pickett.
Pickett will.
Yeah, listen, fine. You could. Yeah. Here's one for you. It's called John Fetterman.
Dude, I honestly.
That's not funny. I'm just saying.
I don't care how bad John Fetterman is. I just can't see Dr. Oz's.
Did you see Dave Matthews played a show for?
He did.
Yeah,
for Fetterman.
He was like, "I rock the boat."
Dave Matthews.
Yeah. He was
really?
PA. Yeah.
Oh, open up the vote and vote for Fetterman. I don't know if that was any good either, but that's what
that was pretty bad actually.
Because all of Dave's songs sound the same, so you're fine.
Pretty much.
No, they don't.
Not
even close.
Offend Ben now.
I'm not offended. I don't give a shit. You don't get it. I understand, but.
All right. Good time to slide over to predictions.
Tucker's about to kick a fucking field goal. God damn it.
I need some Mike Evans garbage time.
30 yards.
Mike Evans garbage time. Predictions, Ian, you go first. The Steelers are at the Eagles.
Shit.
Can I go
Sunday, 1 p.m. And in the box will be Mr. Jim Nance along with Tony Romo calling.
I don't know, Jim. That was a Romo. I'm not good tonight, except for
Well, the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers won in Philadelphia was 1965.
Yep.
And that's not going to change this week. So, yeah, I will fully admit that I was not a fan of Jalen Hurts in the draft, and I did not want the Steelers to take him, and I was wrong as shit about that.
I don't know, man. I think he plays really well in that scheme.
He plays well in that scheme, yes, but he has also gotten a lot better over time, and I did not see him as a guy who could take that next step. And he has his rookie year, let's not forget, his rookie year he got benched and Doug Peterson got fired because of it.
Yeah.
And accused of tanking, which they kind of were, but and then last year he was okay, but not great. But this year he's been really good, and that's the kind of steady progress you want to see out of a quarterback. And I've been very impressed with his, I'll say, continual improvement. That I thought he was in college a product of the Oklahoma system. And for those that have watched the show for a long time, you will know that I do not like Oklahoma quarterbacks at all, or players from the Big 12 in general, especially quarterbacks, other than Patrick Mahomes, but that was a little bit different. Nevertheless, that's an outlier. Nevertheless, we're going to get our ass beat here. The Eagles just traded for Robert Quinn. They have a really good defensive line. They have Darius Slay might have 4 interceptions this game. So if you're in an IDP fantasy league, play Darius Slay this week. Because apparently we can't not throw the ball to Deontay Johnson, and I got to think Darius Slay is just going to blanket him. That's a deep cut because Ben hates fantasy and Slay's a former Lion, so Mark's mad now too. So I'm just pissing everybody off tonight. But all right, I'll get to my prediction. We're gonna get our ass beat 31-13.
Okay, all right, Ben, go for it.
No, I want to be last.
All right, Ryan, go for it.
Yeah, the one thing about the one thing about this team as opposed to last week, and I know Tua ran a few times, is that Jalen Hurts could run, but not only that, he could pass the ball. And AJ Brown, that's a match made in heaven. Devontae Smith is really good. Dallas Goedert's good. They have a variety of running backs, including Miles Sanders, who's really good. But they got Gainwell, they got Boston Scott, they got guys that could beat you. And what I like about them is, to me, their identity is running the ball, and they don't care how they beat you. They just want to beat you. So I actually think it's not going to be that bad early. I think it'll be 3-point game in the first quarter, but I think the second quarter, they just are going to turn it up, and it'll be at least 2 scores by halftime. It's not going to be as bad as Buffalo was, but I am going to go with 30-10. Eagles.
30-10. 20-point spread. What is the spread? 8.5?
It's 11.
11? Oh, God.
Jesus.
It's 10.5 or 11.
God. Ben, your prediction for Sunday's 1:00 tilt.
The Steelers are a weird team this year. You know, in as much as I talked about before, they've beaten some teams that they shouldn't beat, and they've lost to a couple of teams they should have beat. And they're just all over the fucking place. And you kind of never know what's going to happen. And the most Steeler thing ever would be to get their shit together this week and win.
Yep.
And I'm gonna buck the trend here, and I'm gonna say Steelers 18, Eagles 16.
Wow.
Did you get a safety to win it, or
is it? No, that's 6 Chris Boswell field goals is what that is.
No, I'm just saying 18 points.
Okay. Wow. I agree with everything you said. It would be very Steeler-like. They're heading into the bye. I think we have 2 straight home games after the bye.
By the way, Kenny Pickett would be a god again for 2 weeks if this happened.
Oh my God, he would be. I love the confidence in that selection. I however cannot go there. I can't. I just look at the history of us playing there. God, even with Ben, what was the one time he got sacked like 312 times?
Yeah, that was like
it was
only
only
the year we won the Super Bowl, wasn't it?
It was only 8 sacks that game. That was all.
Okay, 8.
I was like, wait,
6 was the final, or 15 to
9. I was like, is that a record? Like a single game with the most sacks ever?
Yeah, it was bad.
It wasn't, but it was a lot.
It was bad. I think that Ryan's onto something. I think we might keep it close for a little while, but I just don't think
for like 15 minutes. Is that what you're going?
I don't think we're consistent enough offensively. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Eagles 30 and Steelers 12. That's just a weird number. I felt like that. What did
pulled out of your ass?
I did a little bit. Melvin's got the Eagles by 11. Burner's going. Oh, hey, congratulations. Okay. Burner expecting a good for
you.
Congratulations.
All right. All right. Good luck. Good luck.
Ian's Catholic. He always cheers for like pregnancy because he's got a lot of kids at home. He's working on his next one now.
I've got a couple pictures behind me of my children. Yes, that is correct. Actually, one of them is missing because he smiled like an idiot for his school picture.
Probably did it on purpose. He was like,
that was literally the face he made. We made him get retakes.
Oh no!
Why? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, good for him. Hey, real quick, just a couple of housekeeping items.
John Harbaugh's pissed again.
Good for him. TJ Watt, his 21 days has been activated.
TJ ain't playing this week. Everybody who thinks he is high.
No, he's not.
Harbaugh is up by 11 with less than 2 minutes to play and finding a reason to bitch. That is the most Harbaugh thing ever.
Yeah. That's a nice win for them, though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Against the Tom Brady's, I don't know. I don't think they're very good.
But it's on the road on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
I think I don't care where you go. It's a good win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you everybody for jumping on tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really do appreciate the engagement.
Mark, did you give your prediction?
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, I said
30 to 12. Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay.
Again, thank you for the engagement. As Ryan points out every week, we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Love our regulars, and you guys have definitely become regulars. And
even though Johnny's a dick, but the rest of you are really cool.
Sounds like really Johnny's a real dick. Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Anyway, make sure you check out the site, SteelCityBlitz.com. On Twitter at SC Blitz, and of course on Facebook, Instagram, and I don't know, MySpace probably too. For these guys, I'm still dead. Check it out. This has been the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.
Send hate mail to Steel Dad.